This soap was really hard to make. Like, really hard to make. Not just a little hard to make. And it was mainly because getting the colors right is so bloomin' difficult. Hi, my name is Katie Carson. I'm the Duchess of Suds here at this channel. And if you're wondering, as a veteran viewer, why Kenny isn't the one making this soap, well, he was at first, and this is what happened. So we were like, that color on top doesn't look like salmon. This is a little more difficult than we thought it was going to be. Maybe we should let Katie do it because she has been making soap a lot longer. And even so, it was still hard for me to do when it comes to getting a salmon color on top. We really wanted to make sure we did the design justice because this is a fan design. It was sent in by Danik from Canada, and we thought it was amazing. We also thought it wouldn't be too hard, but my goodness, were we wrong. We ended up changing their design just a little bit, and we'll show you why later on. They had a mica line. We ended up putting a soap line because we thought it better represented what they wanted. The mica line wasn't showing up. This is just one of those times where you guys get to see us kind of figuring out the process. Sometimes here on Royalty Soaps, we give you guys the wrong impression of like, hey, we can do it right every single time. We can't. You're just not seeing all the times that we're messing up, either because the footage is really, really boring, or we messed up in such a way that, yeah, is really boring. It wasn't entertaining to watch at all. So here we are for round 2 of me making the soap. It looks a lot better this time, has some really cool additives, and once again was a fan design. So without further ado, let's make some sushi soap. So the first thing I've done for this layer is add some kaolin clay. Now you guys can see, normally my slab oils are like way up to here. Well, they way down here because we're doing 3 separate layers. We're blending up the lye water separately. I want these layers super flat because I want them to look exactly as designed. So I'm gonna start by just blending that in, and then I'm going to add some loofah powder. This is to add a little bit of texture because the layer we're doing first is rice. So we're trying to make it look, you know, a little more like rice. Now we can add our titanium dioxide lye water. We added quite a bit of TD because we want this, like I said, to look really white, like jasmine rice or basmati rice, I suppose. I'm adding some green tea fragrance oil as specified on the design. This is from Nature's Garden Candles. It smells so refreshing. All right, I'm gonna scrape down the sides and get in all the corners of this container. And then we're gonna pour this into our large slab mold from Workshop Heritage. Alrighty, in goes the rice layer. And you probably can't tell on the camera, but you can see a little bit of texture in there because of the loofah powder, which is great. I can see how that could definitely be interpreted as rice. And there's a few little speckles because the loofah has some natural variants in it. So that is really, really great. If you're trying to make a sushi soap, highly recommend. All right, this is super flat and still quite runny. So we're gonna let it sit before we mix up the next layer, which is the nigiri seaweed. For the nigiri layer, I'm adding a little bit more kaolin clay, some Snake Island green. This is a very dark green from Mad Micas, and a little bit of green Vibrance Mica from Nurture Soap. I'm also gonna go ahead and just add the fragrance oil straight to the oils and blend it on up before I add the lye. Okay, so let's pour this into our soap mold. Now I have to be very careful with this layer because it needs to be extremely flat. I'm just using this spatula here to break the fall, and then once it's all on, I'm gonna wiggle the mold around a little bit just to make sure that it's evenly distributed and it isn't higher in one place and lower in another. Now the original design had the nigiri as a mica line, and we did do that for the original soap, and I'll show you guys what it looks like whenever we cut these bars so you can see the difference. I'm gonna let the soap sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Hey, look, you can see my face in the soap. It's so shiny. Hello. Then we'll come back and we will put the salmon on top. This is the part where we went wrong last time, so here's to hoping. Time for silly salmon. Let's add our lye water in, and then we will get to the colorants. Now, I want this pretty runny so that I can play with the colors a little bit. This is the first time in a really long time that I'm really gonna have to pay attention, and I really hope this works. So the color I have mixed up today is an equal part percentage, and if it works, feel free to use this in your own creations. This is 1 teaspoon of Orange Vibrance from Nurture, 1 teaspoon of Koi from Mad Micas, and 1 teaspoon of Cosmic Carolyn from TKB Trading. Now I'm hoping that's gonna get us the perfect pinky reddy orange color that salmon fish are. I'm gonna start by adding in half a tablespoon of this blend, and we'll see how dark that is. I'm gonna add 1/4 of a teaspoon of TD mix into here, and that's just to stabilize the color. So now I'm gonna pour some of this off. Okay, so to get the salmon look, I'm going to pour down one side of this mold here. Down this bucket, I mean. I'm sorry, I'm concentrating. And down the other side as well. And then a line right in the middle. I'm gonna scrape this out into the middle part. One of the reasons we pinkified this white part a little bit is because whenever we did white, this darker pink, it looked kind of like bacon. All right, let's pour our salmon into the mold. Okay, so I'm squeezing the sides a whole bunch, and I'm having to start by pouring in one side because I can't get it close enough to not penetrate that green. The veins of the salmon are looking really good though. They're stark, but there's not too much. I'm gonna try to break the fall a little with my spatula. This is really hard to do with one hand. Really hard. I flipped it now. There we go. Now I'm getting some white coming in a little bit bigger chunks, kind of sitting on the top, which is what I was trying to do. All right, now it's sitting on the top a little more because I've waited a little longer, and I'm going to go diagonally. There we go, much better. Now we're getting some of those bigger stripes in there. Now the design specified that there's not going to be any glitter, no swirling on top. It's supposed to stay in sort of uniform lines, once again, to look like salmon, so we're not going to put anything on top, but optionally, they said we could put some soy sauce on top, and that I am going to add. It is still plenty runny, which will be great for adding the soy sauce. So to do that, I have some mocha brown mica mixed with some oil, and we're going to go diagonal, just like so. On the top. Awesome. Now it's time to place the wasabi. Wasabi, anybody? Now I know wasabi isn't normally piped like this, but one time I went to a Japanese restaurant in Fort Worth, and that's how they did the wasabi on the plate with a little jasmine flower next to it, and I thought it was so pretty, so I just emulated that. I'm going to begin by placing these very carefully right on the salmon bits towards the edge of the bar. We looked at a couple of different ways to put that in, including the middle, but it just looked better to have it on the side. It seems like everything greatly benefits from a test run. So someone asked me who my favorite YouTubers are, and actually I do watch quite a bit of YouTube. This old granny likes to be on the up and up with what the cool kids are doing. I stop at TikTok. I tried TikTok, I enjoyed TikTok, but I am not a TikToker. Obviously, I love Jackie from Nerdy Crafter, and I love Echo Gillette. Hashtag support more crafty babes. Also a big fan of Christine from Simply Nailogical and Sophia Nygaard. I love Dave from Boy in a Band. He wrote the most relatable song so many years ago when I was homeschooled. All the little homeschool moms here in Texas were sharing his Don't Stay in School video. Raises some good points, definitely worth a watch. I love his analytical brain, the way that he thinks about things, and honestly, he does content that I haven't ever seen done on YouTube before. I love his videos with statistics in them. Occasionally, if I'm in a mood, I will watch Qua and Karen from KK and Baby J. I do like Aspen Ovard and her husband Parker and their new baby Cove. She's so cute. I am obsessed with JC Marie Smith. I'm obsessed with her best friend. Chelsea is just amazing. Y'all should definitely go follow those two on Instagram. Their Instagram goals. You guys also recently turned me on to a channel called Evan and Caitlin, and those guys do mainly resin art. Man, you want to talk about satisfying. They're so talented at what they do. They're one of my favorites when it comes to like DIY crafting channels. I also like Mr. Kate. They also just had a baby. I typically just enjoy happy, uplifting, gosh darn it. Oh, what have I done? Oh, that is so disappointing. Cry through the pain, baby, cry through the pain. Yeah, I just like drama-free, mostly drama-free. I also watch Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Mostly drama-free channels. I love Garrett Watts too. Garrett Watts, I feel like I'm the girl version of him sometimes. A united front with the mutual love of tiny things. We're almost done, almost done. Yeah, y'all should tell me some of your favorite YouTubers down below. Kenny and I have often talked about making soap inspired by our favorites. I already made one for Christine. That hollow taco though. Also, we're gonna bring back that design a little bit in January, just a little bit. Foreshadowing! So we've waited 24 hours, and as you can see, the color change has already occurred on top of the sushi soap, and the little wasabi poops are sitting so perfectly on top, and the mica didn't move. So now let's split this slab into loaves and cut the loaves into bars after this quick commercial break. All right, so here's the sushi soap, and I have to say, when I pulled this out of the mold, I was surprised because this is round 2. I thought I had fixed absolutely everything, and this pink color went probably 3 shades lighter than it was yesterday. So as it was sitting and curing, and as it was saponifying, those colors were shifting, and then now instead of raw salmon, it looks like cooked tuna. So in future batches, I will probably darken this up a little bit. All you have to do to fix that problem usually is add some more colorant. So the same amount, if you like the color that it is, you just want it to be darker, add the same amount, just double it. Don't change your ratio of color mixing. All the same, it still looks like a Japanese food. At least Kenny assures me that it does. What was the thing that you said it looked like? It didn't look like sushi because sushi's typically round. What was it that we were saying?
I thought that it looked a little bit more like sashimi, which is whenever you put a piece of meat and then a little garnish. So I think it looks like there's some salmon or tuna sitting on top of a little chunk of rice. Ooh.
I can see that. And I'm really glad we went ahead and put the layer of seaweed here because it came out a lot stronger. Let me show y'all what the first batch looked like. So in the first batch, it's not as white. And it's just so hard to see that mica line as when it comes to being like green, like looking like seaweed. Also, we didn't place this very well on top. Those colors in real life look very, very dark orange. And obviously the swirl on the inside didn't pull all the way to the top. So the top kind of just looks like a hamburger patty. Like it's been grilled. So I think it's definitely a step up from the first one, and it still smells really good. I also think it's pretty identifiable. I'm pretty sure people are gonna know exactly what this is whenever they look at it. And it's nice to kind of have a simple design. We have a lot of really, really intricate designs this month, so it's nice to kind of tone it down with something a little more modern and minimal, barring, of course, this super fun little wasabi embed on top. And if you can see, there's the loofah inside. We tried to go with the general direction of making it look like rice, so the loofah stands out just enough. The question of the day is, do you enjoy Japanese cuisine? I have not had enough of it to really have an opinion one way or the other. I have had tuna sushi before, and that was really delicious, but I haven't tried anything else. What about you, Kenneth?
I've loved all the sushi that I've had, and I've had authentic ramen that was amazing.
See, you've had ramen, I've only had pho, and that's not Japanese. I also didn't like it. So to vote on the question of the day, all you have to do is click the eye in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Okay, I think this turned out a lot better. A lot better. I'm very pleased with the results at this point. Like I said, I'm still gonna darken up that pink a little bit, get a little more salmon-y. However, my mom, who loves salmon, is like, that is the color of salmon. I don't know what you're talking about. But the internet says otherwise on almost all of the salmon pictures I can see. It's always like orange. Maybe this has to do with salmon in different parts of the world. Maybe it's some color over here, a different color over there. I don't know. You tell me. All the same, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you would like to get yourself a sushi soap in the Royalty Soap shop, it will be available on November 2nd at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time with our November autumnal release. You can follow us on Instagram if you're interested in seeing autumnal pictures of me and my kids, and maybe Caleb will sneak in every now and then. Or Kenny over there, he's going to be taking more outfit photos and more inspiring like men's fashion photos because he's getting into that. Or you can do Royalty Soaps where we're going to do some fun stuff over there, I'm sure too. Be sure you do something fun for yourself today, whether that is going out and trying some new sushi or maybe a California roll. I prefer California rolls my own self. Those are the ones I've had when I've really never had like real sushi except for once. Or maybe just eating rice. Am I the only one that really likes like steamed white rice? Like if you go to a Chinese food buffet or an otherwise Asian restaurant and they just have rice and theirs tastes better, I think because they cook it in a rice cooker. I could just eat that by itself. No soy sauce, no nothing. Is that just me? Do y'all do it too? Either way, do something that makes you happy, no matter what that is. And I will see you guys very soon on Saturday's video, which is another fan design. So until then, bye for now. Meow.
If the salmon stays salmon.
Is this B-roll or commentary?